What's up, Gamecock fans? How we doing today? Riding with the Rooster edition. I want to talk about this offensive coordinator position in South Carolina that came open. And there's been, oh Lord, you name it, a lot of people have talked about it. There's all kinds of names out there. I brought up the name Jake Spavitol. Some Clemson fan came on talking, oh, they ran him out of Texas A&M back in 2015. And I'm not talking as a Clemson fan. I'm talking about a father or someone that was the alum. Dude, do you remember that Lane Kiffin got fired on a tarmac from Southern Cal? But everybody wants him as a head coach now. Over time, coaches learn, right? They develop. Spavitol's at Baylor right now with a quarterback that's tearing it up. Also scoring almost 35 points a game. And everybody said, well, Baylor's not that good. Well, and it's the Big 12. Well, I don't know what SEC offensive coordinator anyone thinks that South Carolina's going to go out and get. So when I look through names, I look through some guys that have experience in the SEC. Jake Spavitol was that guy from 2013 as a co-offensive coordinator, 14, 15. Y'all remember in 14, Texas A&M put up 56 points, I think it was, against South Carolina. I went through that season and looked and see what they did. Yeah, they lost some football games, but don't forget they also ran Kevin Sumlin out of town at 17. So, just a couple years after Spavitol left, it wasn't long Kevin Sumlin was gone because the offense wasn't the same anymore. And they had some exciting players like Manziel and that type of stuff out of Texas A&M, but it wasn't long. Sumlin was gone as the head coach. So where do you look for an offense coordinator? We've seen a bunch of names of some people want the North Texas OC. It's not the OC out there, it's the head coach, Eric Morris, that found some different quarterbacks and stuff, like Cam Ward was one of them. But you look for, I don't know, this is Shane Beamer's last attempt at it, I think. They bring him back another year, which I'm still kind of want to see what the rest of the season looks like before I say Beamer should be back. And I don't look for no offensive explosion out of this team either. Mike Fury and Sean Elliott drawing up the plays. Who's going to call them, don't know, and won't know till next week sometime probably. I don't know. Take a chance on a long shot guy from a lower level school. Is that on Shane Beamer's plate, knowing that he's probably putting his head coaching career on the line? Because if it doesn't work, I don't see it, especially in power forward. There's not another team that's going to come beat down the door to hire Shane Beamer. And there's not going to be a lot of the jobs that, like Virginia Tech, that probably would have considered Shane Beamer. And I get it. I mean, Shane Beamer's a good guy. I don't know. It looks like he eats a lot of vegetables and fruit to me. He needs a little more meat in his diet. Something that gets a little more, I don't know. We've seen him snap off. He went off on Mike Shula on the headset the other night, which was kind of good to see because most of the time we only see Shane Beamer go off on officials, which Dabo Swinney's now going off on officials. All the head coaches are going off on the officials. But where do you go? What do you look at? What type of offense do you want to run? The NFL offenses do not work in college football. At least they will never work at South Carolina. You're not going to get that kind of O-line. Let's just face it. I don't care how many 4-stars you bring in. You're not getting an NFL offensive line. You got to have the best of the best to run those type offenses. They're too slow developing. College football cranks up the heat. There's a lot of blitzing and exotic blitzes, and you can't just score 20 points a game and think you're going to win very many football games. These offenses are too good in college, and they're gonna light it up. They're gonna light up scoreboards. You look at probably the top scoring offenses. A lot of them are head coach basically calls the plays, very involved in the offense. Shane Beamer's disadvantage to that is he's never been an offensive coordinator. So he doesn't know how, when something's going south, to jump in and fix it. You know, Vandy went about hiring Tim Beck and Jerry Kills, and Clark Lee basically said, hey, this is your offense. I'm going to go over here and help with the defense. And was a smart move. Shane Beamer can't really do that either because he was never a defensive coordinator. So if the defense ain't working good, how does he get involved? He can't. He doesn't really have the knowledge to do it. So he's kind of in that... He's in the space where his inexperience is really affecting him now. And how much respect does he have amongst coaches when it comes to hiring, right? What offensive coordinator, knowing the situation, thinks that, okay, Shane Beamer might be around one more year, I'll go over there. You might get somebody like a Bobby Petrino if Arkansas doesn't stick with him. I'm still saying they do. There's rumor out there they're not going to, because he would look at, well, if Beamer doesn't work out, then I could be a head coach. And we've heard Gus Malzahn's name brought up. If Beamer doesn't work out, would they just hand the reins to Gus Malzahn? I don't know who Jeremiah Donati knows. I don't know the coaching circles he's been in or around as an athletic director, other than I know he was at TCU and he was in the Big 12. And they do score a shit ton of points in the Big 12. But you don't have to be that way. You can score points and still have a defense. It's just the Big 12. I don't know if the Big 12 gets enough talent, defensive talent out there to play heavy defensive ball like you do in the SEC or the Big 10. But those offenses are very creative and they do things differently. They can even score on SEC teams. Yes, they can. We've seen it many times in bowl games where Big 12 teams play SEC teams and they score points. So the decision Shane Beamer has to make is one, not only about what's best for the team. He's got to look at his philosophy and what he wants to do. And we beat this horse to death about the run game and being balanced. It's like you just got to run the ball enough to keep defensive honest. We've heard that from a million coaches over our lifetime, especially us older folks. You don't have to lean one way or the other. You don't have to be 50-50. A lot of these offenses are not 50-50. Some lean pass. You got a bunch of receivers. Spavitol runs a type of air raid where receivers are out there catching balls and having fun. And they still run the ball. You know why they can run the ball? Because everybody has to sit back because of their passing games. So then it opens up run lanes. It's just, I don't know. I've seen Texas A&M do it to us. I've seen a lot of teams do it to us. Look at Ole Miss. One week, they might go out there and blow it up with Chambliss, and he throws for over 300 plus yards. The next week, it's like when we played them and they run the ball for over 250 yards. I mean, it's just, you never know week to week what you're going to get with some of these offenses, and that's what you want to be. That's more the balance you're looking for. You can win with running, or you can win with passing. Easier said than done, right? So where do you go? Who do you find? Do you retread like Malzahn? Do you retread like, I don't know. I've seen people throw out crazy names like Dan Mullen. Like, Dan Mullen is not leaving a head coaching job at UNLV to come to South Carolina to be an offensive coordinator. When you say a name, be realistic in the name. Let's be truly realistic. People are throwing out Cliff Kingsbury. He's not leaving the NFL to come to South Carolina to be an offensive coordinator. It's just not happening, guys. And yes, he runs college-style offense in the NFL, and it works pretty good for Washington. But I don't know. Shane Beamer's got to make a decision on his philosophy. It doesn't matter who the offense coordinator hire is going to be if you're not going to play to your strengths. And the strength of South Carolina right now is nobody knows, because we're not really that good at anything. We can't really run the ball great. We don't throw the ball that great. We don't have anything that helps a quarterback out. You know, the philosophy has always been, you know, you come out, you give your court, and we saw it with South Carolina, and then we don't do it very often, but you come out, you give your quarterback some easy throws, you build his confidence up, you kind of get him lathered up and ready to go play. South Carolina doesn't do that. Well, at least under Mike Shula. Thank goodness that guy's gone, right? And I have to admit, I was kind of okay. Well, maybe Shula just keeps doing what Loggins was doing. He worked well with Lenoris. The chemistry was there. And I think we all kind of bought into that thing. And it just didn't work. It did not work at all. It was a complete disaster. And everybody was left scratching their head on what the hell. I think more fans are frustrated with why it took so long to get rid of Shula than the original placement of making him the offensive coordinator. I don't think the fans are so, you know, I'm sure there's fans out there said, oh, hell no, that guy failed at Alabama. We've done this rodeo before when we hired Will Muschamp that failed at Florida. If you failed at those schools, what are you going to do at South Carolina? Well, now we can sit back and look at it and say, well, yeah, probably not the greatest idea, but I'm not going to beat Beamer up over that. And I know I've given Shane Beamer hell these past couple weeks, but it's warranted, right? I don't think fans that are giving Beamer hell are just doing it for shits and giggles. Most fans would rather be winning football games and somewhere around the playoffs. You know, that the playoff poll came out last night, and you sit there and you look, and there's so many SEC teams in that top 10, and it's like South Carolina was right on knocking on that door last year, and then this year's just been a complete disaster. I mean, just the opposite. And we did the same thing coming off the 2 wins, Tennessee, Clemson in 22, going into 23. So, oh yeah, we should be better this year. The offensive line has grown. They've gotten older, more developed. Should be better. And we wasn't looking like you had to go out and set the world on fire. I mean, you figure, well, you got Lenore Sellers. You should be able to average 30 points a game. No, can't. Defense rarely gives up 30 points a game, so you figure if you can get somewhere around 30 points a game, you can win football games. And it's just not happened. And what Beamer does with this hire is going to be very important to not only this program, because if you do this another year, man, recruiting, I don't care who you bring in for a head coach after that, the longer you keep it, the harder it'll be to rebuild. And we've seen this, like, people think this is some new thing with college football about firing these coaches early or not giving them a lot of years. I mean, Alabama went through that with Mike Shula. Mike Shula, 4 years, was fired from Alabama. Teams have done this for a long time. This isn't something new where you only give a coach 3, 4, or 5 years. That's not new to college football. No matter how many people, they don't know history of college football if they think that a coach gets 4 years and then he gets fired, and that's something that's just new because money came into college football. Not new. It's not new, guys. You can look at a lot of these teams for a while before there was NIL and transfer portal. They were getting fired 4 years into their tenure because it just wasn't working. That was a lot harder to rebuild back then because you didn't have the transfer portal. But, I mean, tons and tons and tons of money now spent on college football. And then for us older generation, and we see these kids running around in shorts playing college football now and doing TikTok dances, and I get it. You try to build your brand, I guess, as a kid. I guess I danced as a kid too. There wasn't video around back then, thank God. But what he does with this, I don't know. Names in the hat, I don't know. I think he did it at a point. People said he used Shula as a scapegoat to save his own ass. That's possible too. Maybe he wanted a good head start on making phone calls or receiving phone calls for some guys that maybe want to come to South Carolina, be an offense coordinator. You got to rebuild. What does Sellers do? I still say he's going to the NFL. People say, oh, a stock drop. In your mind, in my mind, you may say that because he's not played good. NFL, we've said this 1,000 times. They don't care They look at Lenore Sellers and what his abilities are, and they say, I can take that guy. If you say a team like Kansas City, just looking for a good quarterback to get behind Patrick Mahomes, Lenore Sellers is a great person. You would draft a Lenore Sellers and stick him on the bench behind a Patrick Mahomes for a few years. Dude, the kid's going to be awesome when it's his time to shine. He just will. Some offenses will definitely fit Lenore Sellers. But anyway, I got to get on to work. Appreciate everybody for always hanging out. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. And if you can think of some more names outside of Kendall Briles and Jake Spavitols and guys that, you know, offensive coordinators that at one time coached in the SEC. I mean, Briles built KJ Jefferson. Rocket Sanders had his best years running the football under Kendall Briles at Arkansas. So there's some names out there. Whether Shane Beamer can hire those guys, whether he's willing to hire those guys, it's all in what he wants to do with this offense for next year. But can't fail again, dude. That hole just gets deeper and deeper for South Carolina and any other head coach that may come in if Beamer does not succeed. Because a lot of the players are going to look, I don't want to go over there, man. They don't play good offense. But anyway, y'all have a wonderful, beautiful rest of your day, and we will holler at you later. Peace.